basically we basically lived amongst ourselves. We've basically traded amongst ourselves. We moved around within ourselves, and there was no border, there was no nothing. This is how we lived, and we were fine. Basically, we had everything we needed, and we moved around. But they came in. Obviously, the Europeans, they named us Africa. I don't know where the name Africa came from, but I can't be bothered. But we became Africa. But before then, Africa, it used to be Alkebulan. Some people would say, but Al.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Nana Yaa Yeboaa Podcast. Today, we delve into the history of the motherland, Africa, its past, its present, and its future. And there is no other person that can help us navigate this journey of Africa's, history, stories, and in general, if it was, human, the life stories. Oladele Dosunmu, my brother from another mother. Welcome to the Nana Yaa Yeboaa Podcast.
Thanks for having me, my sister. Thank you.
Yes. I think as a child, when I was growing up in Ghana, I really loved African history. From the old empires, Ghana Manly Songhai, to say the Ashanti Empire, the Dahomey Kingdom, the Carthaginians, which is today known as Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, etc., Ethiopia. But what I didn't realize was that the love of history was really a rooting in who I was going to be in the future. And then we tend to forget about it. And then life happens. And we are right now in a different time that some of these memories that we seem to have forgotten need to be reclaimed. And so I come to persons like yourself who are not only historians, but, what is the best word to say, that you hold us and our narratives to transform us and to take us into the future. So as you're strategizing, we're meeting transformation, and you are the son of the soil and echoing very, very powerfully. That's my accolades for you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Okay. Where can I start? In terms of being an historian, I'm not actually an historian, but what I did or what I've done is basically dig into history. They say when you know your history, it erases the mystery. And this is basically what I've done. And then for us to go forward, we need to go where we came from. So as an African and somebody who basically, my formative years were basically in Nigeria. So I spent, I grew up in Nigeria as a teenager. And what's basically got me to where we are is basically after living in the diaspora for so many years, it dawned on me that we Africans don't know who we are as people. And a lack of identity and a lack of historical heritage and culture is basically taking us away from who we really are as Africans. And that, because of that, we lack the pride, there's no pride in us in terms of how we deal with other people. We seek proximity to whiteness. If we don't get acknowledgement from white people, we don't seem to feel good about ourselves. And this bothered me so much. It irritates me as somebody who lives in the UK for so many years, and I see how they treat Black people. Because I say to people, we are merely tolerated. We are here, but we're merely tolerated. Basically, we came here for, let's say we come to the plantation. That's where, if you're in the West, you're in the plantation. Because basically, the West are very good at marketing themselves. Historically, you know what they've done to us. Let's go back, okay? Transatlantic slave trade. You know what they've done, okay? Yes. I use the word Alkebulan, which is the name of my organization. Alkebulan for me means mother of mankind. Yes. We existed before any other on this planet Earth. We were civilization before they came. Man, I'm not talking about history. If you delve into the historical perspective of the Kemets in those days, the Greeks, the Romans, came to Africa to learn everything they learned. They came to us to learn. They spent about 15 years plus learning all sorts of things from Africa. Basically, they were there. They inculcated, they learned everything. Because when you talk about civilization, it's Africa, not them. And this is this distortion of history that the Caucasians have done. They've done a massive number on Africans so badly that they rewrite their history to distort everything that we were about. They flip the narrative. My sister, the sad thing, I'm going to be jumping all over the place as I'm talking. Look at Africa today. Look at Africa today. As a Nigerian, our curriculum is Western. Okay? Imagine you're growing up as a kid and they're telling you that everything about your Yoruba culture, your Ga culture, your African culture is substandard. It's not natural. It's not the right thing. I was growing up in Nigeria. If I speak Yoruba, they whip my butt.
Don't speak. What is the term that they use? Vernacular.
Vernacular. That's the word. Imagine. So that indoctrination started so young. Mm-hmm. That's making you think that your Yoruba language, your Ga language, your Twi language is basically not the right thing to use. Yes. It's inferior to the Caucasian. So they started this program, the colonial project started a long, long time ago to get us to where we are. And this is why my focus, as Nana came across me, my focus is to tell Africans that, guys, going through history, like I said, they've come to learn from us. Everything they're good at remarketing, rebranding, redoing everything. That's basically what they do best, because they didn't have the history, but they had to form a history that made them feel like, yeah, they were there. Even though if you go back in time, like I said, we existed. Everything they learned from us. They rebranded it and then they distorted it and then rewrote the history. And like I said, when you know your history, it erases the mystery. So every African actually listen to us today. Don't take our words for it. And this is my journey. This is basically my journey. I've basically spent the last 10 years of my life breaking down and learning everything. Because I was a kind of curious person that thought to myself, why are black people, why are we the way we are? Why are things happening to us? Why is that wherever we go all around the world, we seem to be at the bottom, despite the fact that we were the first? What have we done that's got other people hate us so much? Because that's what I see. I see hatred from other. It's not just the Caucasians, it's the Arabs as well. Don't forget the what's the other trade they did? That was like 1400 years. The what's it called? The Arab one. Okay, the transatlantic slave trade was about 600 to 700 years. The trans-Saharan trade was 1400 years before the transatlantic.
Yes.
So we didn't copy it just from the Arabs. Then we got it from the Caucasians as well. So basically, we've been chattel for their development for years. So we're talking about 2,100 years of chattel slavery between two different kind of people. So I used to ask myself the questions: why do they hurt us so much? And then it dawns on me that our Creator has a mission for the black people. We're on this earth to basically preserve what God has created. Only we are going to do it. Only we are going to do it, because everybody else that you see, you can see the Caucasian, what they do, they're trying to destroy everything. They create problems to find solutions.
Oh, yes.
They try to move themselves away completely from nature. You see the food we eat, everything. They're basically coming up, they're re-engineering everything. The only people that are going to preserve this earth is the black people. And they're doing a great job in Africa, in our continent right now, by exploiting our resources. But as they've tried so much, they've been doing this for years and hundreds of years and centuries. But as I travel to Nigeria a lot, I can still see that they try so much, but they can't seem to destroy Africa the way they want to. Because Africa has, we have the 65% of the arable land in the world today. We still have that land. Because as I travel through Nigeria, I see land everywhere. They try to buy as much as they can, but the further in you go, the more land there is. They're trying to destroy it, but they just can't. They can't. That tells you that as they try to destroy, nature is preserving us for a bigger picture, a bigger agenda. And that's basically we Africans are basically the ones who are going to present. And this is basically the journey we're in at the moment. Because I look at, as a diasporan, I speak to my wife about this all the time. You just basically look at, if you live in Europe, basically you're in a system, you're in a matrix. You're not free. Africans will think that, okay, because you have the lights, you have the streets, you have the everything, you got freedom. But we that live in Europe are the most controlled people on earth. Basically, they got you to the T. Everything that you do is planned, pre-planned. Everything. The work you do is basically locked into the system. Because if you don't fit into that system, you're not going to survive in the system. Mm-hmm. Africa can still survive without the system.
That's true.
Well, they can, because they're not locked in yet. They're trying to, like you see, they like to build. I don't know if you saw my post today. We saw Bill Gates befriending Nigerian president, befriending Mahama. It was there. I saw one of your on Ghana. I saw it. I saw it. I posted it today. They are going there to basically make sure that we're locked into the system. They know we're not locked in, so they're doing everything they can to lock us into the system. That's why they're bringing all the systems into Africa to make sure that everybody's captured. But Africans, the way we are, we just, we're not getting it. Which in a way, it's a blessing. In a kind of different kind of way, because people don't think it was. But the fact that we're kind of rebellious about that, in not knowing that we're rebellious, but we're doing it. It's working to our favor, because the more they get us into the system, the more they're gonna get everybody. They're trying.
That's true.
So, and this is the way I look at the whole thing. So, and this is my mission. This is my mission. This is my message to everybody. I look at the way Africa is today. We Africans need to go back to our history. I talk about Ubuntu all the time. Ubuntu is I am because you are because I am. In my language, Yoruba, we call it Agbajo Olafinsoya. I'm sure in your language, you got something similar. We had communities, we lived a particular way. We were never ostentatious. We never, we basically went to the land, took what we needed, we ate it, we put back, and we nurtured nature. This is how we lived. We're never greedy. We never needed more than we wanted. Sadly, historically, they had to bring capitalism into Africa. Capitalism means lack. Because Africans, we never lacked nothing until they came. It's when they came to Africa that the lack economy came to Africa. Then realized that we needed mirrors and trinkets to survive. Before then, we were fine.
Now it's Brazilian hair and eyelashes.
Tell me about. So basically, and this is what I said. They create problems to find solutions. And this is basically what they've introduced to Africa today. Now we want the fastest cars, one of the biggest houses. My sister, there used to be a time we used to live in mud huts. Yeah, in a mud hut, you had the rough thatch roofs.
Yes. Yeah.
Suitable for the environment, sustainable. Yes. We never needed air conditions, my sister. Remember, if you live in more than one of those.
Yes.
Now you have to have the block built houses that you have to put air conditions in,
which contain the heat. Yes.
Which contains the heat. Yes. But then we were fine. In those days, we never had a refrigerator in our houses. We had a clay pot.
Yes.
A clay pot. What does it do? It cools the water down. It's like a fridge. So we had all these things that worked for us. Mm-hmm. And then they introduced a mud hut tax in Sierra Leone, in Zimbabwe, where if you had a mud hut, you pay a tax.
Mud hut tax?
Yes, go research. It happened in Sierra Leone, it happened in Zimbabwe. So they're basically saying, okay, your mud hut, we bring in civilization, discard your mud hut, something that we've lived in for centuries before they even existed, saying that it's not a good thing. And this is how they've become distort everything we believed in to make us feel inferior, to make us feel that we are not capable of doing stuff. So the perversion, distortion into our mind is the biggest thing that they've done. That's the biggest job. Like Mapunga would say, he said, they got us between the ears. Our mindset has been distorted. We lost ourselves, we lost our heritage. Now what have we done? Now we embrace a Caucasian culture, we embrace Arabic culture in Christianity and Islam. My name is Oladele Dosunmu. Yeah? For you to be accepted in Christianity, you have to be John, Joshua, whatever. So you throw away your Yoruba name or your Ghana name. Yes. Thank you, Nana. You got your name there. I got my name there. I see it with a lot of people, Africans, who they call themselves Charles and whatever. And I always challenge, why are you? Why?
Oh, the colonized name is there, but I don't use it here.
All
authenticity.
I'm the same because I threw it in the garbage bin as well. Yeah. So the same happens with the Hassan, the Idris. What am I saying here? We existed as natural beings. We existed with nature. We nurtured nature. But for us to move, for them to take us away from who we are, they had to introduce their culture, impose it on us, make it make sense. So what's if we now embracing the Christian culture, which is the Caucasian culture, it's English, it's European culture, the Arabic culture, Muslim, which is Arabic culture, so where are you as an African?
I am going to share with you this story very briefly. A woman approached me at work. I took care of her, and she asked if I was a Christian, and I said, well, I went to Christian schools, but I have nothing to do with the religion right now. The woman said, so you don't believe in Jesus? And I said, listen, Christianity came on the coast of Africa with slavery. What has Jesus got to do with me? My people lived before Christianity. It is perfectly fine for you, but look at me properly. My ancestors are there. They are with me everywhere. Take your Jesus. Thank you.
Yeah, my sister, this is the journey we run. Myself and my wife, we actually do a podcast we do it every so often. We call it this our spiritual awakening. Where we talk about being close to your ancestors, being close to your original self. Your original spirituality is in you.
Yes.
You don't need to look outwards for a Jesus, for a Muhammad for you to relate to God. It's in you. Your creator speaks to you all the time. The challenge we all face as Africans and probably the rest of the world is the fact that we're looking for an alien Jesus, an alien Muhammad to speak to God. When God is speaking to you inwardly, but you're looking outwardly for a God that's going to speak to you. Consequently, you don't get no answers. Things don't get done. You lose yourself in that process. Yes. Because let's be logical. Despite since they've introduced Islam and Christianity in Africa, what's the progress? Where are we as Africans?
Nowhere. Nowhere. And as you say that, I'm glad that Ibrahim Traore, when the Saudis said they were going to build 200 mosques, he said no.
Yeah,
he can pray anywhere.
He understands that religion, education, the economics, everything that introduces us to us takes us away from who we are as Africans.
Yes.
I'm not discarding. I would never discard everything Western because there's certain things we can learn.
Yes.
There's things we can learn. But the foundation is us being authentic selves. Let's be African first. Let's build as Afrocentric solutions built on our paradigm, our culture, and basically our environment. Then introduce stuff that you learn from there to basically complement it. All the solutions, Western solutions that we brought back to Africa, what does it do? It creates a gap, a jealousy, envy amongst each other. That's why people start fighting each other, because basically in Nigeria we call it a better pass my neighbor. Yeah, then somebody has the flashy car, they have the generator, they have all these things, basically, which is the what you gain from capitalism. But in the process of you trying to get these things, basically you're stamping upon your brother and sister. You lose basically, your humanity gets lost in the process. Thank you for that word. And this is basically what capitalism is doing to Africans right now, because you want to be Western in terms of all the things you achieve, that we lose ourselves as Africans completely. I just came back from Nigeria I was in Nigeria about 3 or 4 months ago. And when I go, I always reflect. And what I took away from when I was coming back to the UK was the fact that in Lagos today, the prices of property is going high, is huge. The guy, my brother's friend, was telling me how it costs to actually rent apartments in Lagos and how expensive it is, and he was scared that because some property in front of his house, the landlord put the price up, so he's scared that his one's going to go up as well the moment he knows about it. The challenge there is these landlords or whoever property owners don't care about their fellow human beings. They would just put the bump up the rates without even thinking about it, just like that. So what's the humanity gone? The sad thing about this is that we Africans have land. We came from land, a lot of land. But the Western civilization came and it told you that the land that fed your ancestors, that way you grew up, where you grow is basically not good enough for you. So you have to come to a concentration camp in Lagos, because Lagos has become a concentration camp. It's a city. It's a concentration camp because everybody is trying to survive in a concentration camp, and not everybody's going to make it. So you left your abundance and the land that you can be okay without your estates, you'll be fine because that's all you have to do. And then you come to the concentration camp in Lagos, in Accra, trying to belong and fit into a system that's going to continue mess you up. And you wonder why people are stressed and people are committing suicide every single time. What am I saying, Africans? We need to get back to who we are. It's hard because, like we said at the beginning, our mindset, our education is all European. Who are we as Africans? Who are we? We don't even know who we are anymore. That's a challenge we're facing. But we can trace back, we still have our dormant indigenous knowledge systems in us.
Yeah.
There's something about us that's in you that's always going to be there. That will, if you tap into it, it will come back.
Yes.
So we Africans need to trace back. We need to go back to some kind of normality. It's still there before we completely lose it. I worry for the next generation, my sister. I look at the generation coming now. In Nigeria today, they in their homes, they don't speak their language. Kids speak English to communicate in Nigeria.
It's not only in Nigeria, Ghana as well.
It's Africa all over.
So,
And this is a problem. We have a mindset problem. This is why I always do. If you see me advocating, I'm always talking about let's decolonize our solutions. Let's decolonize our solutions. That's the only way forward. You embracing this Eurocentricity is not working for Africans. It's not going to work. You can have the high skyscrapers and all these things, my sister. Only a few people can afford to go those. Only a few people. What about the 95%? Don't they matter?
Yeah.
I don't care about the people who have. I care about those who don't have, because those are the majority. So if whatever we do, if you don't think about the majority, and you focus on you just being okay on yourself, then we become individualistic, which is a Western concept. It's not African. Going back to Ubuntu.
And with my background in, say, labor and delivery, I tell you that sometimes it's sad to see that a person may come alone or just with a partner, no other people around. And then there's also this mindset, like you mentioned, individualism. I don't want this person around me. I don't want this person around me. I can do it all by myself. At the end of the day, you get high levels of stress, anxiety, depression, etc. It's like the new badge here. I don't get it, but I'm seeing a lot of new parents with that anxiety, depression, and everything. Meanwhile, on the occasion that I get a one of our people, because I work in a rural place, which is majority Caucasian, you see that there is a grandmother. Either the Africans have a grandmother, their mother with them, or mother-in-law with them, or if it's Indian, they have their mother-in-law or somebody older who is taking care of them. And so I always tell these other young women that you have to be careful. It takes a village is not by saying, it is by practice, which means
Yes.
if you have an auntie there and the auntie is coming to help you, say, yes, you need that help. If you want to be sane, say yes. When you meet a young African and they speak like they are older, look into their homes. There's multi-generational because the young learn from the old people. Many of us, I learned a lot from my grandmother. I learned a lot from my grandmother. God bless her soul. She's no longer with us. And some of these knowledge, you can never get it. You can learn from your grandfather or grandfathers. You will never get it again. And that is one of the things that made us very special. That when you go to the village, you have life lessons in the farm
Absolutely.
or
Yeah.
under the mango tree, where I
I,
learned
I,
my art of
I experienced
storytelling.
that. I experienced that as well. And I'm so grateful to my grandfathers for actually showing me a few things. It's there, and we are losing it. And this is we Africans, we need to go back. Like I said, we need to go back to some kind of normality for us to develop in 2025. Everything that we've copied, everything that we've learned, you can see it's detrimental to us. This is not the way we Africans are meant to live, and it's there. It's obvious for all to see. It's just that we just don't want to pay attention to the trend that's going. We don't want to pay attention because everybody wants to be, to fit into this and be acknowledged by caucasity, the proximity to whiteness. That's the thing. If we don't do these things, your degrees mean nothing. I'm sorry to say. I have a lot of people who got degrees. Degrees for me, it just means whatever somebody's idea, you learn it, and you want to prove that it's worthy of learning, and you're trying to show off. That's basically what degree means, because where's your common sense in what you've learned? How do you relate what you learned to your own paradigm in terms of as an African? How does it fit in? It doesn't. I see PhD holders, they all come to me. And I'm thinking, yeah, fine. But whatever you've told me, how does that work for Africa? How does it fit into Africa? They have no answers. Look at the economic system that we follow in Africa today. Isn't it about saying that all Africans basically destroy the Eurocentric economic system and build our own? How can their dollar or pounds be so valuable that they made you devalue yours? So how can you build industries when your currency is so devalued and worthless? Yet they will come with their overvalued currency and take your resources out for cheap. So where's the sanity and the common sense in our so-called intellectual Africans who then will sit down and analyze all the crap on the news channels every single day? Make it make sense. And these are the things we're saying. We can do these things if we are willing to do the work. But we Africans do not want to do the work. We love to basically, because Oyinbo has already built all these structures, instead of us basically roll our sleeves up and do what we need to do, we don't want to do that. We'd rather go into their space, copy their things, and just fit in and just make our money, because that's all we care about. Just make our money and show up, oh yeah, I've made this, I've made that. Whereas your backbone, your motherland, is rotten. Because all the skill sets that you've learned in Europe, in America, how is it helping Africa? All it does is for you to build all these properties that most people cannot afford to live in. What about the 95% of the people? How are you helping them? How are you improving their lives? How are you, where's the food?
Africa is to prosper, like you said, when all of us prosper. But if just 2% or 5% prosper and 95% do not, we are not going anywhere.
Oh, sister, you're a one-eyed king in the midst of the blind.
Well, let's move on to the name, how do we call it, Alkebulan,
Yeah.
because I didn't know the name until I came across, I think I came across the writing of yours and your explanations on LinkedIn, and that
Yeah.
got me hooked
Yeah.
into the history of our people. So could you please break it down for us? I know you did in
Yeah. Okay.
conversation, but if we could just hone in on that.
Don't forget, 1884, 1885. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The Europeans, okay, before then, even we were not Africa. We were just kingdoms and empires. We had the Benin
Yeah.
Empire. We had the Zimbabwe
Yeah.
Empire. We had the Ashanti Kingdom. We had all these empires.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we basically lived amongst ourselves. We've basically traded amongst ourselves. We moved around within ourselves, and there was no border. There was no nothing. This is how we lived, and we were fine. Basically, we had everything we needed, and we moved around. But they came in. Obviously, the Europeans. They named us Africa. I don't know where the name Africa came from, but I can't be bothered. But we became Africa. But before then, Africa, it used to be Alkebulan. Some people would say, but Al it's kind of Arabic. But don't forget, in those days we had the Moors as well, who traveled around. Yes. They were the black people who conquered Spain.
Yes.
That's basically, so the name came from around those times, Alkebulan, mother of mankind. That's basically who we were. So that was the foundation of Africa. Obviously, like I said, Alkebulan means mother of mankind. Mother of mankind, basically, which means basically we existed before any other. So the Moors were the ones who coined that name into Alkebulan, but that existed way before the colonizers even introduced the name Africa. That's why I went back to reclaiming that name. That, you know, when you see the name, people ask the question like you did. What does it mean?
Yes.
There's a reason for using it. I call our organization Emerging Alkebulan. The reason I call it that is that we are emerging as to become the mother of mankind that we're meant to be. And that's the reason why, that's the story behind Alkebulan. It was there, that's what we used it. But as always, the white people will come and redefine and redo everything. They always mess everything up. And that's basically where Africa came into. But yeah, we are where we are. We are, my sister, we are where we are. But I think it's about time we do something radical. Yeah, go on.
No, the reason why I'm laughing is that Africa is seen as the mother of mankind. And it just puts femininity, womanhood right in the center.
Of course.
Okay, take it wherever you want to take
it. Patriarchy is not African. Patriarchy is not African. Patriarchy came from the distorted religions. In the Bible, they had to say that they had to take a rib from a man to form a woman. What a load of bollocks, excuse my language. That's not, is that natural? You know, the thing is that when we listen to these things, this is where we as Africans, we lose our heads because something is documented. And don't forget, we say a lot of the things that they document in these books were basically plagiarized from the Kemetic history, distorted to fit into a narrative that they want to create. The same thing goes with the Quran, man. How this is my question to people. As a man, how can a mother who gave birth to you for 9 months, who carried her in the womb for 9 months, 9 months, she was incubating you, she nurtured you all through for 9 months, and she gave birth to you, and then all of a sudden you are above your mother? The mother that gave birth to you, as a man, if you're thinking, how can you then be the head of your mother? That, you know, logically make it sense, because that's why our creator gave us a brain to think. In the ancient history, Kemetic history, if you see all the wonders that was created in Egypt in those days, in the Nubia and in Sudan, what we had was, we used the word Mahat. Mahat means balance between a man and a woman.
Like the yin and the yang.
Yes, there was a complementary. That's how they used. Basically, nobody was over anybody. We just worked together in synchronicity to basically make things work. The pyramids that you see, you know, there was a connection, that nobody can explain. That when you have that connection within a man and a woman, things happen. Don't forget our food in those days. Basically, women's the one who planted, not men. Women carry the seeds because the women are the seed carriers. Men would nurture the land, but women are the ones who plant. They know what to plant, what not to plant. They know when to plant, when not to plant. Because they see things that we men don't see. Women have this intuition that nature has given them, that they see foresight and things that, if I'm going to do anything, if my doesn't say, I can jump, have to listen to my wife to tell me go ahead with something. If she doesn't, I can't do it. And this is the business distortion that they've taken away from from the world, and that's why our world is all messed up, because they superimpose this patriarchy onto the world. That you see how we men are destroying the earth. We're the ones who create the bombs and everything. A mother who gave birth to a son,
yes,
or gave birth to a child, would you want to destroy what you created? Would you not be empathetic about your creation? Would you want to, would you want to starve, kill your own kid? No, you wouldn't. But men don't bear that responsibility. And that's basically why they had to impose the patriarchy system for them to do all the crap that they're doing at the moment. And this is where we Africans need to get back to some kind of normality. This is who we are. We are ma'at. We need that equilibrium between man and woman. It's not about one's above the other or whatever. It's synchronicity, working together. And this is basically how myself and my wife, this is how we operate. This is something I've learned. I used to be in the church. I used to think that way. And then it dawned on me, as I'm talking to those, I started to think, come on. My mother gave birth to me. And I'm the head of my mother. No, it doesn't make sense. But we work together. There's feminism, which has gone to the extreme. But it's not about any isms. It's about us working together as a man and woman to basically nurture nature, protect what the Creator's put on this earth for us to look after. That's why we're here. And this is basically why I hate patriarchy. I'm probably one of the few men that would say this, but I hate patriarchy because it's destroying. And I look beyond what everybody see. Maybe that's why I'm different. I see beyond what they see. I see beyond the superficial. Because if you one of those people who are spiritually connected within yourself and you know yourself truly, you will see what other people don't see. And I see destruction that patriarchy has caused. And I don't know how we're going to get back from that, but it's ingrained in people's minds. It's basically like religion. People are just so into it that they would argue with you till you're blue in the face that they're right, even though they look stupid when they're talking.
Yeah, I think we will get there. But African women also need to reclaim more of who we are as women, and give our men their due as men, and be mindful of the stories told about male-female relationships, because that will be that is some of the sources of our problems, getting rooted in who we are. I always say I'm a very proud Akan woman. Very proud Akan woman, because as there are chiefs, so are queen mothers.
Of course.
Yes. And so when a person sees a queen mother, they give her the respect. When how do we call it? A young woman also see a chief, the chief also gets their respect. So there's that balance. And the more we get into it and get rooted and claim it or reclaim it, I think the better we will get at this aspect of balance.
My sister, and this is where the history is important. This is basically this is where our curriculum needs to change. Yeah. This is where we need Afrocentric curriculums, where we tell our kids what we had, because we cannot throw away our heritage and our culture. People say to me, okay, it was not every the same things that were bad. I agree, but if you look at the Caucasian history, do you know how these people lived? How they used to eat themselves? How dirty they were? They never talk about their history, what they've done in the past, but they focus on they make us focus on ours.
Ours, yeah. The negatives of ours.
Even though their negatives are worse than our negatives.
Yes.
But that one that's been covered up, and then we focus on that, and we Africans will then be using our own mouth to tell our own negatives as if it's the in thing. And that's, to me, I call it self-hatred.
Oh, yes.
I know. Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to go to another question about, this colonization shaping Africans' identity, our borders, and our cultural confidence, and the invisible legacies that we still live under. I know we touched on a whole host of these in the conversation, but if you could just summarize and hone in on that for me, that would be wonderful.
Colonization, basically, for me, is the worst thing, the worst atrocity that ever hit our continent.
Mm-hmm.
And the sad thing about this is, if you look into history, because I'm a student of history, the Christian church was part of this
Yeah.
history, of part of this distortion. Basically, the Vatican, the UK, they funded the first ships that went to Africa was named Jesus. Yeah, they funded they funded this to go to Africa to do. Imagine. Why did they come to Africa? Let's put it there. This is like I just mentioned there. They lacked nothing. They were basically they had wars amongst themselves. They had nothing left. In order for them to survive was what brought them to Africa. So they gave them they basically commissioned these voyages for them to go all around the world to see what they could find. And this is basically where they went to the Americas, they went to Australia, they went to Africa. Let's basically start going around the places and that's how they came to Africa. And this is basically, and they came here, they saw stuff, they could see how we were doing, and they observed. And then they went back and said, oh, we found this, we found that. And then basically that's when the ships were commissioned. Okay, let's start going. And that's how they came in. And that's how colonization started. Because they lacked. They would say to Africa, Africa lacked, but the Europeans lacked. That's why they came to our continent. And that's basically colonization. And then people always say, okay, we sold ourselves. And I always say to them, guys, we existed, yeah? We were fine before they came in. I know we got gullible, but we never sold ourselves. We had wars, like you know, my sister. We had wars, we into tribal wars. But at the end of the day, in my language, they say Eruman Domo. Basically, after the wars, you settle wherever you conquered and you become part of the community.
Yes.
And nobody knows that there was a war because you get assimilated and you become part of the community. This is how we dealt with things in the past. But what the West have done is basically now they come and they've taken our people in unchattel. And have you been to the point of no return in Ghana? I'm sure you've been there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had it is. They had a chapel there,
Yes.
in that place where they have to pray.
Yes.
To take slaves into the ships.
The chapel was on top of the female dungeon.
Imagine. And the stories I heard about that in terms of what they used to do to the women before they even, and this is a chapel. It's gross.
It is. It is.
So this is colonialism that was introduced to Africa, and consequently, our economics got messed up, our cultural heritage got messed up, our education that we had preserved by elders got messed up, our security got messed up, our food got messed up. Then that's basically when cash crops came into being in Africa. Cash crops, because they needed our food. I remember and I could say categorically, my grandfather was a cocoa farmer. He became a cocoa farmer because of colonialism. Because of the money, and this is the money that my grandfather made that brought my dad to the UK. Because they made so much money. And what did colonialism do? It took us away from our community farming.
To serve other people.
To serve the colony. Yeah, that's their process. And this is basically how colonialism got fed into our system. So all the things that we did that worked for us, where we lacked nothing, got changed. Then we became individualistic and greedy because of the mirrors and trinkets that the white people introduced to us, and this is where we are today. And we have not come out of it. And this is the work that needs to be done for us to get back to where it's hard work, trust me, man. But for me, if this is that causes I'm gonna die on, I'm gonna keep doing this, man, because we need to leave a legacy for our kids. I got grandkids. You know, our age, Nana, our age, because I'm in my late 50s now. Our age, we're the ones who we had everything.
Yeah.
And then we left nothing for the ones behind. That's what we did.
For me personally, that's why I am reclaiming the Anansi storytelling sessions for the children, because that is kind of lost. And with the advent of podcasts, being able to listen to our stories, share our stories, and change the mindset of those who are willing and open to hearing. So let's get to your organization, Alkebulan. Let's get to the emerging Alkebulan, the organization. What are some of the obstacles? I know some of us don't follow small. What are some of the obstacles you face
The
so far?
obstacles for me is just basically finding like-minded people,
Mm, mm,
because we most of us are coconuts.
mm.
So, and I'm radical. In my late 50s, I'm radical because I do not believe in the systems that kept us down will be the systems that's gonna take us out of where we are. We need to go back to the drawing board and we need to build something from bottom up. And the challenge I face is basically the coconut, the people who will come to you thinking that they want to use the Western systems to build us. So what I say to people is, if you come talk to me, and I'm putting it out there, if you come talk to me, if your solutions are Eurocentric, don't come talk to me.
Mhm.
I'm looking for systems that we build that's going to actually think about the majority of Africans. How can we help elevate, empower our people collectively? Then we can have a conversation. And this is our struggle as an organization, because there's not that many people out there. But we stay true to who we are in terms of if at the end of the day, if it's just a few people that we're going to do within ourselves, so be it. But the thing is that once you start building projects, people, they're going to want to know more. That's why we have to be the example.
Yes.
That other people can see and build on. That's basically what we're doing. So we're doing it within ourselves. We kind of form an alliance with different kinds of people. Obviously, we can't talk about that at the moment, but we are forming alliances. We're talking with people who see what we're doing and want to be part of what we're doing, and we're doing with their collaborations there. But it's a struggle.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying to you now, the way forward for Africa is like-minded, decolonized minds. You can never fix Africa with a colonized mindset. It's impossible, because basically what it keeps doing is keep us where we are. Africa has everything it needs. All we need to do is just find solutions based on our African environment, sustainable solutions, and we can build. We're more than capable of doing this. But as long as you come in with it from a coconut perspective, it's not going to work.
Oh goodness gracious! As my people will say, "Tikro enko ejina, one head does not reason alone." So I understand what you're saying. Together we sit,
Yeah.
we reason, and find solutions to
Yes,
our problem. And
my
what is the
sister,
other
this is all we
proverb?
have to do. This is all we have to do, but we don't want to do it because we find it's hard work, and the hard work is what we don't want to do.
Ah, if it is soft, there's a problem somewhere. Hmm. If
Mm,
honey, yes, then there's a problem somewhere, because if it is soft, see honey tastes sweet, but when you go to the bee's
mm,
hive to take it, you may get stung.
mm.
So if you are tasting the sweetness, you have to be prepared for the consequences of
Yeah.
it later. But it is hard work, and we are going to get it done. The most important thing for you and I having this conversation right now is that we are self-aware children of the motherland.
Yes.
As you
Yes.
said,
Yes.
Mayat, male, female. You
Yeah.
take one part, I take the other part, and together we will push this
Yep.
agenda forward. Yes. So,
Yep.
last, if you had to leave us with one redemptive truth about Akablen, the mother of creation, or the mother of the world and its future, what would it be?
Unite. Africans unite.
Africa unite.
Africans unite. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter. As long as, and this is what people say to me, but the diasporans or our brothers in Americas, the mindset is European or is American. And I say to them, Understandably, it is. But this is basically where the continent has to be the balance, bring them back to where they need to be. But if we Africans, our minds are so distorted, how do you help those who have the Eurocentric mind? We basically lost it. So we need to find a balance, and we need to unite.
Yes.
So whenever I see a black person, whenever I see a black person, as long as they look like me, they're my brother. I don't care about the Berlin Conference, the Ghana, the Togo thing. It means nothing to me. Personally, I'm African. I'm Alkebulan. First and foremost, before the colonial borders. I don't even see myself as a Nigerian. I see myself as an African person, because that's who we are before the colonial borders came into play. So my words to always people is Ubuntu. I am because you are because I am. Let's unite. Let's find common ground. Because don't forget, the enemy that's keeping us divided loves to keep us divided, keep us fighting each other, and they can keep infiltrating and sucking us dry. But if we unite, that will block the leakages, and they don't want to see you united. So that's what we need to do: unite.
Unity is the word. Oh my goodness, my brother, you have reminded us to know our past is to reclaim our future, and also that the name Alkebulan means more. It's like there's more in a name, and so that I believe this conversation was really like a call back to truth, dignity, and destiny. We need to change, and change starts from telling our stories, grounding ourselves in who we are, and carving a path into the future. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And for those who are also listening, thank you for joining us on the Nana Yaa Yeboaa Podcast. And follow us and share and subscribe to us on Facebook, or YouTube, or anywhere that you watch us, Spotify. If we are looking for you, my brother, where would we find you? Your social media handle.
You can find me. I'm very, 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 very prominent on social media. So on LinkedIn with the Emerging Alkebulan, on YouTube, the Emerging Alkebulan, on Instagram, the Emerging Alkebulan.
Yeah.
On Facebook, it's my name, Oladele Dosunmu. But just search the Emerging Alkebulan. We're on all social media handles, and we got a great content there, because we try to decolonize people's minds now and awaken our consciousness. That's our mission, to make us start thinking differently. So the Emerging Alkebulan, just go on all social media handles, on TikTok, everywhere.